What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Schrager Hour. I'm Peter Schrager. We're recording this on an early Wednesday morning as we head into another week of preseason football. I'd like to tell everybody, don't make too much out of week one of an NFL season. My old colleague Kyle Brandt would say week one is a liar. I would like to say, don't make anything out of these preseason games. Don't be that guy. Now, a 53rd man on the roster, he might be able to make a team based on the production that he had in the fourth quarter on special teams and showing good stuff on film. A guy who is in a battle for that 6th or 7th swing tackle position, maybe what he does in the preseason can help him. A 3rd or 4th quarterback, but please don't overreact based on preseason game performances. It's an important lesson. It's fun to see it on our televisions. It's great to listen to the local broadcasts. The ratings are phenomenal. It is beautiful, to what we say, to just be able to touch the grass, even if you're not tangibly doing it. It's nice to see football back on our screens. But I have to really stress, just because an undrafted running back had a 25-yard run in the fourth quarter against another team's fifth string players, like, it doesn't mean this guy's going to be a fantasy darling. And especially with the young quarterbacks, if a Cade Klubnik comes out and plays like he did, or a Fernando Mendoza, don't get too excited yet. Realize what they're against, the coverages that they're against. And I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I just have been down this road before, where you get so excited by a young player's performance in the preseason, and either A, they don't make the 53 come after Labor Day, or B, far worse, they never even see the field during the season. So I just would say, be patient, enjoy it, and take it for what it's worth. Week one of the NFL season, you get a lot of upsets. That one's a real deal. And I say, hey, be cautious, putting your faith in a lot of things that you see in week one. Preseason, guys, don't take any stock in team performance in the preseason, and certainly don't make too much out of an individual performance in the fourth quarter of a game. I have been around the last few days. I have seen a lot of football, and I got a chance to spend a day with the New York Football Giants. Jason McCourty and I headed down there. We had a great afternoon. Got to see a lot of the players playing and hitting and tackling. It was one of their first days back from West Virginia. And this is going to be a tough, hard-nosed team. I don't know how many games they're going to win. I've got to really go through it, but I will tell you that they will not be making dumb penalties. They will not be out-muscled at the line, and they certainly won't be abandoning the run game. That's going to be a big piece of this. They added Najee Harris this week, and now they've got about a 5-headed monster in the running backs room. Scatterbo, spoke to him for close to 30 minutes. He is from a different world, and I love him for it. He cannot wait to get back on the field. My big piece of news on Cam Scatterbo is I said, all right, so you're done doing the flips, I assume. He says, no, my first touchdown, I will be doing a backflip, because that is what I do. And I want everyone to know I still do backflips. And the Fanatics Fest was not going to be my last backflip. After the first one, things might change, but there will be a backflip for his first touchdown. Overall, John Harbaugh is running a very strict camp. It's a disciplined camp. It's a tough camp. I said it last week. Picture a country club or a really fancy 5-star resort. Now take the complete opposite of that, and that is what the Giants have had during training camp. 13 days in West Virginia at the Greenbrier. Yes, it's a resort. Yes, it's remote. Yes, it's a beautiful place to play golf and go fishing and whatever else. It's not a great place if you've got family and kids and you're a grown man and you're living in a dorm room essentially for 13 days while your family's back in New Jersey or New York, wherever the players' families were. But what that trip did was bonded those guys together, and it got Harbaugh a chance to get everybody out of the New York City market and together as one, where they can lay the groundwork for what this team wants to be. On Tuesday, John Harbaugh was asked about why he doesn't have morning practices. Most teams have an early morning practice during training camp. They get it in, they get to the gym, they do film work. He strictly does afternoons. As I listened to this sound afterwards, I want to say, this is my TED Talk on afternoon practices. Yes, this is John Harbaugh, and you get a feel for kind of the energy that he has in the building. Take a listen.
Practicing in the afternoon, I think that's something you started a few years ago with the Ravens. I know you gave an explanation for it back then, but I'm just wondering, what you've seen in the years since then, and why you thought that was good to bring over to the Giants.
Yeah, you play in the afternoon or the evening. You don't play in the morning. That's one thing. And then what we found was over time was there's a certain preparation that you really have to get your body ready to both perform at the highest level and to, we believe, and to protect yourself. And it's just hard to do that in the morning. You know, your body, and you're sore from the day before and all that, it's hard to get your body going where you get it going. So we have a whole process. We start the day with a certain level of strength and conditioning and mobility. That's where they start the day, from 7:30 to 8:30. And then we work into our meetings, and then we do a tempo practice, which we call ACT, which they're moving kind of a little bit, sort of walk through type deal, but it's kind of a jog through, but it's exaggerated technique. And then we do, a 15 to 30 minute preparation right before practice to get them ready. So the idea is to have them ready for what they're going to have to do, whatever the level of practice is, so they would perform at the highest level that we think they, physically can, and so we can keep them safer. But we're not in a hurry to get the practice over with. It's not like we want to get it done so we can relax the rest of the day, or so everybody feels good that they're done with the hard work. We want to have the best practice we can have, and we're not in Miami. We're not in Houston. When you're in those places, it's so hot, you tend to go in the morning. So that's why when we go down there, we'll practice in the morning. That's why we're practicing in the morning tomorrow, because we want to get somewhat used to practicing in the morning for
John,
Thursday.
Speaking of keeping
Was that a long enough, thorough enough answer?
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Okay. I saw you start like kind of, when's this going to end? But you asked the question.
I was going to ask about Miami, and then you just had that in there. Yeah, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, and that's Harbaugh. Like, he's going to give you every last detail. It's so detail oriented, and this is what the players are listening to right now. I thought it was interesting. When I was there at practice with McCourty, the other coaches that came by to say hi, and we talked for a while, it was like a who's who of, oh, that's a former NFL head coach. That's a former NFL head coach. Oh, that's a future NFL head coach. So Matt Nagy, spoke to him for a while, obviously was with the Bears for many years and then went back to Kansas City and now is with the Giants. He's the offensive coordinator, but you also got Brian Callahan. And Callahan was the head coach of the Tennessee Titans. And before that, he was the offensive coordinator when Joe Burrow and the Bengals went all the way to the Super Bowl. And before that, Brian Callahan worked with Derek Carr with the Raiders. And before that, Brian Callahan worked with Matthew Stafford and the Lions. And before that, Brian Callahan was a really trusted guy in Peyton Manning's quarterback's room. So now you take Nagy, who was with Alex Smith and was, of course, with Patrick Mahomes, and then was with Trubisky and Foles and whoever else in Chicago. And you take Nagy from that. You take the experience that you have, obviously, from Callahan. I just went through those quarterbacks. And you add in Greg Roman. Greg Roman is also in that offensive room as a consultant on the run game. Now, Greg Roman is known for, run pass option and hard hitting running football. But the quarterbacks that he's been with are Tyrod Taylor, or Colin Kaepernick, or Lamar Jackson. And the last couple of years was with Justin Herbert. You put together all that experience, and then you add a quarterback room that includes Jameis Winston, 10 plus years in the league, and Brandon Allen, 10 plus years in the league. And Jackson Dart is well supported. Jackson Dart now has a brain trust around him with troves of experience and guys who have had real NFL careers in the coaching ranks and in the playing ranks and have seen it all. The problem or the fear there is there are too many voices in Jackson Dart's ear. If something goes wrong, suddenly you've got three legendary offensive coaches. You have a head coach in John Harbaugh. You've got Chad Hall, who coached the quarterbacks, but is now the wide receivers coach. And that's Stafford's brother-in-law, but he's been an NFL coach forever. And then you've also got all these backup quarterbacks that have played in the league. I don't think that's going to be the problem. And I think this Giants team is going to represent something a little bit different than what they've represented in years past. They went 1-7 in one-score games last year. They were in a lot of games to the very end and found a way to lose them. I'd like to think that's the Harbaugh difference. And that's why you pay him the money you did. And that's why Harbaugh brought this coaching staff in with him. So Giants fans, I came in very bullish to start the summer. I'm still there. And I know the schedule's hard. The first 2 weeks are brutal. Home against the Cowboys, which if you're a team that I think they should win. And then to LA playing the Rams. But my caveat with that Rams game on Monday night, the Rams are coming off that trip from Australia. So the Rams are traveling 12 hours to Australia, then whatever hours back. And then they've got to get ready and they've got a couple days to prepare for the Giants. So as much as it's cross country, it's 8 days after their opening game. And then it's also in the continental United States. So maybe the Giants aren't going to be at such a disadvantage playing in LA. Whereas we would typically say, Giants, Rams in LA, Rams favored by 12, So that's the Giants part of it. I thought it was interesting that the Cowboys continue to add pieces. That Christian Parker interview we did on the Schrager Hour a few weeks ago has been making waves because a lot of the things he said, and we got a chance to get to know him. He's 34 years old. He's a first-time defensive coordinator, but in the last couple of weeks, they have re-signed or given an extension to Quinnen Williams for big money, and they have signed Von Miller. Thought the interesting part about the Miller deal is that he could have gone other places. He chose Dallas. Last year, at the Super Bowl, when it was in San Francisco, I attended an event called the Boardroom. I think it was the Boardroom Playbook, and it was Rich Kleinman, who is in sports media but also works with Kevin Durant. And Rich invited me, and Rich does a lot of different stuff connecting athletes with business and sports media and, athletes to meet wealthy investors, like a very interesting guy, connected guy. Obviously, he's been with KD all this time and he's got a whole career for himself. Rich invited me to this event, and Von Miller was a panel speaker, and Rich and Von were talking, and it was in front of probably 20 or 30 people. And I got a chance to chop it up with them afterwards. Von Miller, interesting point, said he had a choice last year at this point in the offseason or whatever it was in March, April. I'm either going to go to the Washington Commanders, where I'll play for Dan Quinn, and we're coming off an NFC Championship game appearance, and they've got this Jaden Daniels, and you've got all these superstars on that roster. Or I had an offer from the Seattle Seahawks, who were young, but they showed flashes, but hadn't made the playoffs the year before. And with question mark, we don't know, Geno to Sam Darnold, upgrade, downgrade, I don't know. Chose Washington. Von Miller chose Washington over Seattle last year, and it's the same money. It was one or the other, and he just chose this way. Now, Von Miller has Super Bowl rings in his back pocket. It's not like he was ring chasing or he needed it or anything, but this time around, he said he was going to take his time, and he goes to the Dallas Cowboys, where he grew up in DeSoto, Texas, which is right around the corner, but he also chose the Cowboys because he loved what they're building. I thought how it came together was interesting too. Take a listen to Von Miller, who spoke on Monday about coming to the Cowboys and how it really came together.
He was sitting in the high limit gambling. I just sat down with Dak, and we just started gambling together and talking. And I was like, hey, man, y'all, it's about time for Dak. It's about time, you got to break through one of these teams. You got to break through one of these years. I think this year you'll be able to do it. Like, you got everybody to do it. And that was, I didn't have any inkling on, being a Dallas Cowboy. They just happened naturally. And then the Cowboys reached out, and I was just like, bro, this is
something. So they were in Vegas, and Dak was at the table, and they're talking, and he's basically chopping it up, as he said. And he's like, it's time. Like, it's time. And in the meantime, since that meeting, Caleb Downs looks outstanding. Malachi Lawrence looks like he's a player. The preseason game, as I said, don't pay attention to it. The Seahawks came right down the field and scored a touchdown. And then the rest of the game, the Cowboys, defense, there was 4 different red zone opportunities. The Seahawks didn't score in 3 of the 4, and they only had 40 yards passing afterwards. Like, there are signs, but my biggest sign on this Von Miller and Cowboys defense conversation is that last year at this time, they had intercamp practice with the Rams. I talked to everyone from the Rams. This doesn't come from McVay. This came from a person in that building who was like, Cowboys defense is just not good. Like, we couldn't assess how we look because Stafford's not out here. Garoppolo's out here, but we could tell you this, Garoppolo absolutely sliced up whatever version of that Cowboys defense we got. And I'm like, geez, Jimmy Garoppolo just going up and down the field on the Cowboys number ones. That wasn't the case this year. Everyone I spoke to in LA said, no, Cowboys are significantly better on defense. Cowboys are a team. And Von Miller chose to go there. Maybe my favorite soundbite of the entire preseason came yesterday from a young player, a national champion, a Heisman Trophy winner, a first pick overall. I'm not even going to give this much prologue or build up. I'm just going to lay out. Ladies and gentlemen, the Fernando Mendoza era has begun.
Yeah, I would say that it is tough. However, everything that is tough, you wouldn't want something to be easy. If it's tough, it's worth it, and that's why it works at the highest level. And it's great because the teammates, we rely on each other. They rely on the receivers to make the right timing, right route. The receivers rely on the quarterback to throw in the correct timing. The linemen rely on the quarterback to get it out on time. The quarterback rely on the lineman to give them that time to throw it. And then the tight end, I mean, there's so many different variables to it. And when we all rely on each other, I believe it makes us closer. And when we become one oiled unit, and we have all this synergy and become a dynamic ecosystem where we're evolving together, playing on time, be able to make, and then still make some off-schedule plays, but mostly playing on time, then that's what teams in this system take the next level.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I geeked out last week about Drew Brees, and when he's talking about the quarterback play, Mendoza's a little, he's well-oiled machine, like he's getting there, but you can see that this guy loves it too. And that's all I'm looking for. That's all I'm looking for in my quarterback. I want that 6'5" big arm that he has, and I want the championship pedigree, but I want a guy who absolutely loves it. There is discourse whether like Mendoza will fit in with an NFL locker room because, yes. Does he love football? Yes. Is he going to get these guys paid? Yes. Is he going to give it his all? Yes. Can he lead? Yes. And guess who he has in his deep back corner there? That's Tom Brady, who loves it too and has been present at some of these Raiders practices, which is good to see. My last clip as we get ready for our guest is something that I found very interesting. You always hear about, like, I feel like I missed the Pro Bowl in its glory days. I was just too young of a reporter. I missed it by a generation, where I know Jay Glazer used to always talk to me about this, where like season would end and then everyone would, in the media, a couple people would get the opportunity to stay at like the team hotel where like the players were, but it was in Hawaii. And me, when the season's done, I need a break. Like, I don't know if I would even want that assignment. I'm like, I'm good. I don't need to go to Hawaii to be with NFL players. I just spent 21 weeks on the road. Like, we're good. Glazer used to talk about this Pro Bowl experience. Like, it was where he built his career because of the relationships with the players. And what he would say is, you'd go to Hawaii, you'd go to whatever hotel they'd put the players in. I think the players, the NFL would pay for like 4 guests and yourself, or they would say you could fly, well, take care of airfare for like 3 and you get yourself and you get to go. But there would be like an hour practice in the morning. And then the hang sessions at the pool were apparently legendary. And you'd hear stories about, John Lynch and Rondé Barber. And then you'd hear about Peyton Manning with, just holding court. And, one of the famous stories I want to say was, John Lynch was once with Peyton Manning and the two of them were talking and it was discussing and then eventually they were like, at some point, down the road, like we need to be best pals. And like now they're as tight as can be. And they obviously live in Denver and the whole deal, but like it came together at the pool hang sessions at the Pro Bowl. This was probably 1990 to 2012, I would say. It was like the glory years of the Pro Bowl. And then they tried changing it. They, obviously it's in the States and then it's before this. It's different now. It's just a different deal. But it was a big expenditure and players loved going because they could actually, take their families and have this amazing vacation all on the NFL's dime. And then they would play this fun game that meant nothing. And it was in Hawaii and then the season's over. Fine. What you also would hear about after the fact was the actual conversations about player movement and potential player, free agency and how these different guys can link up and say, hey, we should link up together. We should do this. And almost like they were trying to build super teams while they're drinking Mai Tais at the pool. Patrick Bet David. I never thought we would be combining here, but the Patrick Bet David podcast had Ray Lewis on. And take a listen to Ray Lewis talking about his Pro Bowl experience with Peyton Manning one year.
I was literally 30 seconds from Peyton Manning saying yes to come to Baltimore. Me and him we sat in Hawaii and we're sitting at the bar and we stayed there for hours. And I'm saying, look, if I put you on one side, you leave me on the other side, and me and you go at this thing together, what the freak? I sold him. And then at the last minute, he ended up staying home. But I did
you follow up with him on that?
Yes, man. I followed up with everybody, P. God darn it.
Didn't happen. Peyton Manning came back to Indianapolis, and if I'm not mistaken, the Peyton Manning Colts beat Ed Reed and Ray Lewis in the playoffs. I want to say, obviously, one year when it was a low-scoring game. Steve McNair was the Ravens quarterback, and then another year when Flacco was there in Indianapolis. The Colts always gave the Ravens problems. Peyton Manning in that famous game against Steve McNair, where I don't think the Colts scored a single touchdown, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was like 15-13. I have to go back. It's probably 2007, 2008. Is a famous story about Ray Lewis doing everything right on a play and Peyton Manning needing to thread a needle so fine to keep this drive alive. And on a third down, Peyton Manning throws like a pass and Ray Lewis goes to the sideline. It's like, I don't know what I could have possibly done better. It's a famous NFL Films clip. But I thought that was fascinating that Ray Lewis spent an entire day for hours trying to convince Peyton Manning to leave Indianapolis, come to Baltimore, the home of Johnny U, and get one with him. Well, they both got two over the course of their careers and are both NFL legends. Speaking of defense, Robert Saleh is our guest. We're going to have Robert Saleh on in a second, Tennessee Titans head coach. I recorded this a couple days ago, so if there's a wardrobe change, I apologize. That is why for the YouTube listeners and viewers. And if you're listening, then don't even regard that. The Titans are an exciting team right now. To be honest, I don't know what we're getting from them. It's a second-year quarterback. It's a really young roster. But then you start looking at some of the names that they've added, and Jeffrey Simmons in the middle. And maybe there's a chance. Maybe there's a chance that they're this year's Patriots, where they come from nowhere and actually, with a second-year quarterback, storm the league. Saleh's got a really grounded view at this second opportunity at being a head coach. And as he says it in the interview, he would have been fine being the Niners defensive coordinator. This opportunity came along and it was too good to pass up. But this is a good conversation about where you are in life, what you've learned, and if you get a second shot at something, how you would change it. Here's Robert Saleh on the Schrager Hour. With no further ado, first year coach of the Tennessee Titans, of course, has a decorated NFL coaching resume, but there is no team that maybe has more positive buzz going to the 2026 team than that team right there in Nashville. My guy, Coach Robert Saleh, welcome to the Schrager Hour.
Appreciate you having me, Peter.
Dude, what's it like? What's it been like? We're now in August. You've been there since January. Take us through 8 months in, and yet we haven't played real football yet.
That's the fun part, man. Everything's been great. You know how it goes, first year staff. So the vibes are high. People are positive. We're still in the middle of our installs. We're about to go to San Francisco to practice against those guys. And we got Seattle the following week and Chicago the following week after that before we hit week one. But there's a lot of work to do, but it's been great. The players are locked in. We're getting better every day, and it's no complaints.
Okay, no complaints. And yet I look at this team and there's so much reason for excitement. The quarterback, I just watched the show on Netflix, got to know Cam Ward better through that. You see him every day. The defense has an all-world player in Jeffrey Simmons, but there is so much room to grow. Take us through the roster a little bit, the guys you're getting to know and what you like and what you've seen.
Yeah, starting on offense, the communication between Dabes and Cam has been outstanding. Like, I think they're doing a really nice job. We had a blue-white scrimmage the other day, and I thought Cam did an outstanding job just playing quarterback. Our receiving core has got a good mixture of youth and veterans. The vets being Wendell Robinson and Ridley, and then our youth of Carnell Tate and Alec and DK, and then you got some guys who are surging to try to get that final roster spot, and then you got our tight ends. You got Bellinger, who's a veteran, and Gunnar Helm, who's a young guy, and guys trying to battle for that third spot, and and then along the O-line, it's again a mixture of youth and veterans. So it across the entire board, and then obviously our backfield, Tony Pollard and Taj, really cool 1-2 punch at running back with a rookie in there, and Singleton, who we drafted out of Penn State. But a really young, exciting offense. I think they're, like I said, what we see in week one won't be the same team in week 17, and I guess you could say that for every team, but they're locked in. They're getting better every day. And then defensively, you said it, like we had to revamp the entire D-line, going from a 3-4 to a 4-3 scheme. And, you have Jeffrey who transcends scheme. He can do whatever the heck you ask him to do. He's a freak in that nature. But bringing in Jermaine and Jacob Martin and getting Solly and John Franklin Myers, and then piecing along guys here who have been here like Femi, and we got Jordan Elliott from San Francisco, guys who know our system. So we're piecing that group together. Linebacker group is young and again mixture of veterans. Our back end getting Flott and Alante Taylor here to round out what I think is a really cool safety group. And so like I said, a lot of cool vibes. There's a lot of cool pieces, but we're young, learning two new schemes, and so we'll continue to get better.
All right. So when you got this job, and I think you were the belle de ball at one point, and then you get the Tennessee job, you bring over Daboll. What were those conversations, being that you guys were both head coaches in the New York market together at the same time?
We joke. I always joked with him like, he always struggled defensively, and we struggled with offense. And I was like, God, if he could have got the defense,
that's good.
if he would have got the defense right, maybe he's still there, and vice versa. It wasn't hard to get a great offensive coordinator here because there's so much excitement around Cam and to work with Cam, and Daboll loves Cam, and having the opportunity to work with him, I think it's as big a gift for him as it is for us to have him here.
I think you talk about the combination of some of those Giants players like Cordell Flott coming over, and of course Bellinger, and you got those guys. But you did mention a few of those defensive players that were from that Jets team, and you didn't mention the trade for Johnson, but like there's a little bit of a band back together feel of like unfinished business of what you guys were building in New York in two separate cities. It's kind of cool.
No, for sure, and it's I've said this before. Like my first go at it, I was so deliberate in not bringing anyone from where I was. I didn't want to be considered the Niners East at the time.
Yeah.
And that first year, just talking with Rex Ryan, there was a learning lesson in that, it's okay to bring guys who are familiar with your messaging, familiar with your system, because they act as an extension of you with regards to coaching and kind of translating your verbiage. So when you look at offense, bringing in Bellinger and Wendell Robinson and guys who are familiar with and Schlotman, who are familiar with Daboll's system, they're helping bring along the groups
in each of those rooms.
Yeah, each of those rooms. And then same thing on the defensive side. There's 90 guys on the roster, and you're talking about 4 people, a combined 6 or 7. So, but it can feel that way if that's your focal point. But there's a lot of guys who are here before, and there's a lot of guys who we drafted that make up this own football team. But to have guys sprinkled in each room that know the systems, know the verbiage, and can help translate our language to the rest of the locker room is beneficial.
This team hasn't been to the playoffs in a few years, and yet new stadium coming. Ownership seems to be investing in the right things resource-wise with facilities, but also with the players on the roster and with the coaching staff for sure. And there's going to be new uniforms. And it just feels like this is a different chapter of Titans football, and your face is front and center with all of it. What do you want the Titans to represent in this field of 32? The Robert Saleh Titans are what?
You know what? First and foremost, you just hit it. Along with it is a very youthful football team. So I'm excited to help build this entire image and this entire roster. We talk. Our style of play has always been fast. We've always been violent everywhere we've been, and trying to get that to go all the way across the team in all 3 phases. Playing with a style of football that just screams off the TV, where you could just feel it from your living room. And but it takes time. There's a lot of coaching. There's a lot of scars that need to happen. But as we do this thing and as we continue to grow, obviously, like every team, the goal is to win championships, not just one, but to do it time and time and time again. And but you can't do any of that unless you focus on the moment, which goes back to the cliche coaching stuff. But staying in the moment, coaching the principles and the standard at which we want to operate, and hopefully people recognize that.
I think you don't have to say it, and I never heard you say it publicly. I think most people would say you got a raw deal in New York and you've been chomping at the bit to get another opportunity. You have that opportunity. What makes this opportunity different than the first time around?
Like anything, when you have an opportunity to do something the first time, you're going to gain experience. You're going to get better, even if the results aren't what you were hoping for. And truth be told, we just didn't win enough, and that's just kind of the nature of our business. You're either winning or you're losing. As much as we talk process, we're still judged for results. but you have to stay in the process to give yourself the chance to get the result you want. And so what's different is you've got someone who's more experienced, who understands the curveballs that can come with being in this chair, and it moves a lot slower than when you're a first time head coach. And so I'm grateful for this opportunity, and like you said, we've got everything at our fingertips. We've got a blank slate here. I've got an unbelievable general manager to work with. Our owner's been fantastic with regards to the investments she's made on this in this organization, and now we gotta grind, we gotta work, we gotta win every day, and find a way to get wins in the win column.
I had Borgonzi on probably in January. It was before the draft, and he didn't tip his hat or anything, but he told a story about early on Cam Ward barking with Jeffrey Simmons, and and everyone being like, okay, this guy's got something to him. What have you seen from Cam Ward in these practices and in your limited time with him that tells you that this guy, he might be one of those dudes?
He's still barking. I mean, they're jawing at each other all the time, and I love how he has no fear. He doesn't back down. But what I love about him is that it's not like he's all talk. He's backing it up with the work. Results or not, I mean, the guy is the young man's first in, last out, grinding on trying to find a way to get better. And I think even though he's talking, I think he's got respect of the entire defense, because the defense knows how important it is to him and how hard he's working at it. And I think he's got respect of the entire team because of that. It's just not someone who's talking to talk and then he just jumps in his car and goes home. He's a talented young man. He's got a lot of football to learn, but he's made of the right stuff.
What was the key learnings from dealing with Rodgers and dealing with Purdy and all these different quarterbacks? Yeah, that as a defensive coach, you can still connect with a young quarterback and pass on to him.
You can still connect. It's at the end of the day, their closest relationship is going to be with their quarterback coach and coordinator, and just trying to be another another voice for them, another set of ears, whatever they need, and helping them along, helping them see the defensive structure, helping them understand why we're doing things from practice, explaining to them what we need out of him in specific moments. But I was very fortunate. We drafted Zach Wilson, who's a rookie. I had Joe Flacco, who was super experienced. We had Aaron Rodgers, who's a Hall of Famer. We experienced a lot of different things at the quarterback position, and all of them came with tremendous growth from a learning standpoint. And we did a lot of great things at the Jets, but there's a lot of things that we look back at and we learn from, and hopefully that translates to a more successful Titans tenure.
When you were interviewing for this gig, what was your main selling point to them? Like, why should we give Robert Saleh another shot? Why should we be the team that says, hey, your second shot is with the Tennessee Titans?
You know what? I don't know if it was so much selling. Like I've always told people that you want to go into an interview and you just want to be you. And if they like you for you, then that's the right place for you to be. If you try to sell someone on something that you're not, or sell something, if you have to sell yourself, it's probably not going to work. And so and that was different from this interview. Like, I wasn't in a hurry to get another. Of course, my desire to be a head coach again was there, but
there wasn't a billboard up saying "hire me."
No,
you were content if you had to stay.
I was content, and in my mind, I was going back to San Francisco, and but the more I researched Tennessee and the more we dug into this place, and I'm guessing the more they looked into me, it was like, to me, it was a perfect match. Like, the type of organization I want to be a part of. If I'm getting one more shot at this thing, this is it, and speaking with Miss Amy and talking with Borgo and looking at what the plan is for the future and the way the people in the building run things, this was like the perfect spot for, if I was checking boxes on what I wanted my second tenure to look like. If I was going to get one more shot, this was the spot.
The family move out, or are they still in San Francisco? Where are we at personal wise? We got money over there.
For right or wrong, I have a philosophy that we ripped the Band-Aid off. So I got my family here in April, pulled them out of school, got them in school out here, so that way they can meet some friends and have some people for the summer, and to get rid of the whole new kid anxiety of having to wait 3 or 4 months to be the new kid again. And they actually, first day of school is tomorrow, and it's like,
is that right?
Oh
I
yeah, they
love
start
that.
early around here, but so they're but they've already gone through school, so there's no anxiety. Although my oldest is going into high school for the
Is
first
that
time,
right?
so he's
Is
got a
he
little
playing? I
anxiety.
know he played sports. Is he playing football
Yeah,
or what?
they all do. They all play football. They're doing a great job. But all of them. My wife, I mean, she drove an hour for girls soccer, and now she's got another hour drive for basketball. I mean, God bless her, man.
All right. I
She's
know
all over
you've
the
done this,
place.
but what are the ages right now of your kids?
Oh man.
Okay. How about this?
I,
Give me the range. The oldest and the youngest are what?
no, my oldest is 15. I got 6 boys, 2 girls. My oldest is 15, and the baby's 1.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How's
man.
that household right now? Quiet?
It's it's uh it's controlled chaos. And I'll tell you what, it's funny, man. My wife she is
She's a saint.
she's a saint, heart of gold, soft as bread pudding, but boy, that hammer comes down, and
Do
those
not
kids are
cross her.
just they are in line.
Yeah. Yeah. Last year in San Francisco, you had like 1 year with those guys, but it felt like it was a reunion. And if there ever was a place to get your chest back, to get your vibes good, your ego back up in check. Okay, I can do this. It was there, especially with like 8 injuries on the defense, and you guys were in every game. Just take us through last year, coming off the being let go by the Jets, and then having a place to go, and then to actually excel the way you did with the lack of star talent on the field.
It was awesome to go back to San Francisco, and selfishly, it probably did more for me than them. In the sense that after you sit in a head coaching chair, you kind of look at things a little bit differently. And I wanted to go back to San Francisco to view the organization from a different lens. Again, all part of my just overall, like, what did I miss first time around? What could I have done better? So from that part, it was very enlightening for me to watch Kyle and John and Jed, and just all the way from top down, just the way the building operated and the way they communicated and all that stuff. And then to be able to work with Fred again, even though it was only a few weeks, and Bosa and all those guys. But I've always been a believer, like, the difference between player A and player Z, top player, but whatever you want to call it, it's not much. And so, like, when Tatum Bethune, a guy like Tatum Bethune gets his opportunity, or Jair Brown, or all these guys get their opportunity to go in there, like they're not expecting you to change the way you coach. They're not and I'm not expecting a drop off. And who are we to tell them that they're not capable
I
of
love
being
this. They were the
superstars in
best
this
players on
league?
their high school team. They were the best players on
They're
their college
everywhere
team.
they've been.
I'm ready.
They've been the best. Like, just, and all they're asking for, like, it's not Tatum Bethune's fault that he's there and Fred Warner happens to be the starting Mike linebacker. The man just wants an opportunity, and he had his op, and he did outstanding. And you could say that about all of those guys. And so as much as the injuries kind of sucked for the guys who got hurt, it was an awesome opportunity for guys behind them who've been just waiting for their turn to get thrust into those moments, and they played their butts off, man. It's a credit to them, credit to the belief that they had in themselves, and to a man, all of them. They made me look a hell of a lot better than I helped them. Trust me.
We've talked football for years, and I feel like you and I have a similar encyclopedic memory where I can mention a play and you can go back and tell me it. I go to this Monday night game against the Colts. Rivers goes up and down the field the first 2 times, then you guys stop him. But then it was either a pick six or a fumble recovery for a touchdown that I was like, you know what? Damn it. Saleh's awesome. Like, this is an unbelievable performance right here. Who was it? Who was the player, and what was the play at the end of the game on that Monday night game?
So they hit us on this route concept earlier in the game, and Phillip was up there, and he's just checking everything. It's funny because within the first drive, Phillip's making checks and got us completely out of our game. We had a game
He
plan.
went up and down, man.
He get right out of, and he recognized within the first 4 plays of what we were doing. I was like, you got to be kidding me. And he goes right down the field, and he's moving it. And to the guy's credit, we settled in. We started playing things a lot better, but they hit us on a play. Phillip gave a check to it, and it was all D winners. Like, this is 100% D winners. He hears the verbiage again, and he knew what the play was, and he kind of okey doked Phillip to make it look like he was vacating the void, the zone, and he jumped back in and picked it and took it to the house. And but again, another one of those moments. A young man, playing football, absorbing information on the field, getting better as the game went on. Heard the same word twice, and that's the danger of football. You hear the same word twice.
But is that not the stuff above the neck that matters?
Oh, it's all above the neck. Football is all above the neck. It's all above the neck.
So I love that story, and I love that. And then to start that game, Demarcus Robinson scoring touchdowns, and I'm looking around. I'm like, this is unbelievable. This Niners team, it was a mash unit, dude.
Kyle and that organization, and it's like I said, man, they do such a great job. The depth of that, the rosters in that organization, and I joke with Kyle. I said maybe all the injuries at camp help because it gets all these guys ready.
They're
But
ready to go.
all of them are ready to go at a moment's notice, and it's everyone. It's cliche, next man up, but those guys, everyone in the league, they just want their opportunity, and when they get it, it's our job to put them in those positions, and then they take it from there.
All right. I loved what you guys did in the draft this year, but I also love the subterfuge and the lack of leaks out of your building. So this is Borgonzi and Salo's first draft together. You throw Daboll in there. Everyone's saying it's going to be Sonny Styles or Caleb Downs, or maybe you can have an outside pick and Jeremiah Love falls. I didn't see a lot of Carnell Tate in the mock drafts, and you guys took him forth. What'd you see in him, and what have you seen so far since you've had your hands on him?
Man, we see a playmaker, someone that obviously add playmaking ability to the skill groups that we have, and he's got elite hands. He's learning like everyone else, but it feels like every practice he's making a play. And again, I go back. He's got a lot to learn about the game, and really excited about these next 3 weeks where like I said, we joint practice San Francisco, Seattle, Chicago, 3 very, very good NFC football teams.
Are you doing joint practices with all 3 of those teams?
All 3 of them, yeah, man.
Those are all 3 playoff teams.
Playoff teams, great defensive schemes, great defensive coordinators, 3 of the best coordinators in all of football with DA, obviously Mike McDonald and Raheem, and 3 schemes that are very unique and different to one another, and so it's going to test our offense, all of them. And so a guy like Carnell, he's going to get all he can handle with regards to learning, and hopefully it prepares them to attack the heck out of the football season.
What's the one learning experience dealing with, I guess, all the spotlight and the media and all that stuff that you take from that experience in New York, where it was Hard Knocks and it was Rodgers and it was every day, it was national. You go now to a market that you might think is a smaller market, but if you guys start winning, it's going to be a big market very soon. What's the takeaway media-wise on how you kind of tell these guys, a young team, to stay in the pocket and maybe not read as many headlines as maybe the Jet Squad was?
No, you know what? The big learning experience for me is that it doesn't matter how hard you try. And it's not to say that I'm just going to be an ass or whatever you want to say. It's and still help the local media do their job the best I can. But chasing narrative and trying to control narrative and trying to I tried really hard, way harder than I should have, to control the narrative of the football team. When the reality is, you could be Vince Lombardi, and if you're losing, you're a loser. Period. You can win every game and walk around in your underwear and you're a genius. It doesn't matter. Winning and losing is going to dictate the narrative. None of it's true. It's all a game. It's all narrative. And the most important thing is us. It's us in the locker room. It's our daily process. It's believing in one another. It's trusting in one another. And let's be real, like the noise is out there. People are going to recognize the noise, see the noise. You just have to learn to you grow and you learn and you understand that at the end of the day, it's all fake. Because if you win, the story flips, and you focus on what you can do better. You focus on how you can help your team be better. You focus on messaging with your team, and if you keep it at that and you keep it inward, you'll be just fine.
I always like to ask the coaches going into the season, because some of them meet with, a John Gordon type, or they have their own offsite where we put together our messaging. Like, what is the mantra for the 2026 Titans? If there is one, if you could share with us, what is that one core message, the tenet that you guys are all looking towards in your North Star as you head into the season?
It sounds cliche. It is. It's daily process. It's just, we're such a young team. It's really understanding the daily process of football and understanding how to get better every single day, how to take care of your bodies, how to attack regen, how to not just maintain strength during the season, but get stronger. It's your eating habits, it's your sleeping habits, it's everything from ground zero. But me, I've way of life is all gas, no brake, man. We're gonna go to bed better than when we woke up. You know, we're gonna attack every facet of our lives, from how we brush our teeth to how we tie our shoes. It's gonna be elite, or at least try to be, in every little detail. And that's kind of our way of life. And when you're watching the tape, our style of play, we're trying to be fast and violent. You know, just from snap to the echo of the whistle. Hopefully we're playing with our hair on fire and giving teams all they can handle.
All right, we're going to wrap with a couple quick ones. Give me your best Jeffrey Simmons story so far.
Oh man. He's fiery, dude.
like I've seen, like hair on fire, right?
Like hair on fire, wants to inflict so much pain on anyone who aligns in front of him, and I love it. Like I don't like it's he I mean, when he gets going and he's got a full head of steam, I mean, it'll be exciting to see him go against different body types now, because once you get used to someone, you know, you've got things. But going, like I said, the 3 joints that we have coming, I love his fire. I love his leadership. He's a relentless worker. And I guess the best thing I can say is that, you know, when there's an old saying that money only makes you more of what you already are. And it just feels like, from what I've heard, the day that Jeffrey got his extension, it's only ramped up. His intensity is ramped up. His regen, the way he attacks his day-to-day habits, his preparation, everything's ramped up. His leadership, all of it, and which means we gave it to the right guy. And so I'm looking forward to having a full season with him.
All right, one more. Your favorite Rodgers story you tell?
A-Rod, Aaron.
Yes.
We were actually just talking about him, you know, like been in the league so long that he's in those meetings, and you know, it's like he's hearing an install for like the millionth time. And he's like,
23rd time.
yeah, can we let's you know do, and then, you know, just doing something completely off the wall and to stimulate the rest of the room. But man, Aaron is an awesome teammate, man. I'm telling you, like he's a great dude, so insightful. Was a tremendous help to me, and just like elite teammate. And I mean that. You'll be hard pressed, and I would challenge anyone, just go find a teammate to say something bad about him. It's all you need to know. And that's what I tell people when they ask me about Aaron. Have you ever heard a teammate say anything bad about Aaron Rodgers? No. That's all you need to know about Aaron.
You're a body is a temple guy. I remember you had some wild dietary habits where you're like, I'm not eating carbs the entire season one year, or no sugar one year. Where are you at food-wise right now? What are we eating? What are we not eating? What is the Robert Saleh body as a temple approach to 2026?
You know what? It's so simple. You can do it. Are you ready?
I want it.
If God made it, it's probably good for you.
Okay.
That's it.
So the can of SpaghettiOs that I'll have later tonight probably
not good. Not good.
There goes my brand deal with SpaghettiOs. To end it, best restaurant you've been to in the last 12 months, best golf course you played, and then we'll wrap it.
Oh man, shoot. You know what? I'll tell you what, the American Century Championship, event
did you play in Tahoe this year?
I played in Tahoe. What an experience.
Was it
probably
awesome first time?
the coolest golf experience I've ever had in my entire life.
Coach, who was on your bag? Who was your caddy?
My son. It was awesome. We played, you know, getting to play with guys. So I played with Bobby Flay and Ray Romano, which was awesome. It was awesome.
Well, did you know Ray from the Jet stuff? He was a diehard Jets fan.
Oh yeah, they're such great people. I mean it. Like, hopefully I get an invite back, man. It was the coolest event. Like, seriously, coolest.
When do you get that invite? Because is that one of those deals where it's like your agency reaches out there? Is it they know you golf? I remember the photos when you were at the Jets and the forearms.
Oh yeah.
Like, how does that go down? And when do you have to commit? And then when you get there, what's the whole deal?
My agent called me in the middle of the offseason and asked me if I was, you know, I was scheduled to do it when I was the Jets coach, but I had a family emergency that I had to cancel, and they thankfully invited me back, and it was a no-brainer. I jumped on the op, and because I've heard from so many people that it's an elite experience, and it didn't disappoint.
How'd you play?
God, I was doing good, man, and I just kind of down my leg the last 6 holes.
Really?
But it was fun. It was fun.
It's 4 days worth. It's so much.
It is, but it's still like I wouldn't exchange. Like I didn't even care. I was playing bad. I was at the end. I was just happy to be a part of that entire thing. So
Who'd you meet at this thing that you hadn't met before? That was pretty cool.
playing with Ray Romano and Bobby Flay, like that's and Carson Daly, got a chance to play with him. AJ Hawk, who I'd never really met, but got to play with him. Mike McDonald, who I played 2 rounds with him, and
he is serious about his golf. He was at Caves down in Baltimore, I think, or Woodholm, one of those, and he was a regular.
Oh yeah, no, he's good too. My son, the first time I played with the first round we played with Mike, he didn't have a really good round, and my son's like, Dad, I think you're better than him. I was like, no, I think Mike's pretty good. And then the next day he shoots a 77, and my son's like, yeah, you're not better than him, Dad.
He's at the Masters this year. Like he's hardcore.
He's a good golfer, man. He's good. He's very talented.
And we'll see golf again in March, I assume, right? That's
pretty much, unless my son drags me out on a Friday afternoon to go.
Friday afternoon at 6 o'clock.
He caught the bug this year, so he's been golfing.
I was going to say, my wife is golfing quite a bit,
and my wife is getting lessons, which is exciting. So they won't have to twist my hand. I'll sit in the cart. I'll be so tired. I'll just sit in the cart with them if they want to go out there on a Friday.
Did you have to give up the club in San Francisco, or did you keep it? How's that work?
Well, you end up giving it up, but that's okay.
It's all right. Hey, we're here talking golf. It's August. We won't talk golf anymore. It's football. You're the best. I so appreciate you doing this. Hey, good luck this season. Appreciate you coming on. This was huge. It's a annual tradition. We'll do it again soon. But Coach, I know you got a team to coach up in 3 interesting weeks with the joint practice with playoff teams. You know how much you mean to me. I appreciate you, dude. Appreciate you, brother. You're the man. Robert Saleh, head coach of the Tennessee Titans. There we go. A lot of things to take away from there. The skepticism around the Titans, and I'll tell you really around the league, was they put together this offseason and they added Carnell Tate and they added a couple other players. But the bulk of their additions were ex-Jets and Giants, and the Jets and Giants stunk the last few years. So there's people rolling their eyes saying, okay, so it's Saleh and Daboll who weren't winners. Daboll had the 1 year where he was coach of the year and the whole deal, but over the whole, he got fired. And then Wan'Dale Robinson and Bellinger and Cordell Flott, like none of those guys were stars in New York. And then on the Jets side, for Saleh, it's Solomon Thomas and, Franklin Myers, Jermaine Johnson, and all these different players that it's like, but then you hear it from Saleh and he's like, the Rex Ryan thing that he heard was that you got to have guys that know your system. They got to be like almost coaches in the building. And that's what they were bringing. So on the offensive side, Daboll's got his guys that know his offense. And on the defensive side, Saleh's got his guys. He's got his guys. And if you've got a few of those, and then you have the surrounding pieces, and whether that be, Alontae Taylor or the big boy Jeffrey Simmons, like that's why you bring those guys in. It's not about immediate, all right, Wan'Dale Robinson is going to go for 100 catches because he was with Daboll. We didn't do that, too often with the Giants. Why would he do it with the Tennessee Titans? No, but Wan'Dale Robinson comes in the wide receivers room and he's like, here's how Daboll likes it. Couple things as we wrap. Next week, I'm thinking we're going to do our fantasy football episode where we bring on a couple of experts and we just geek out on fantasy football. I think that's important as people are preparing for their drafts. Obviously, I'm talking to all the coaches right now, so I'm going to have my little gems here and there and guys to watch. New York City wise, I will tell you, I went to an outstanding restaurant last night. It's called Graciela. The story is cool. I wouldn't just talk about restaurants on this podcast if I didn't think it was a cool story. Couple guys from New York City were down in Buenos Aires, Argentina. They had the best meal of their lives. They talked to the chef, said, would you ever think about opening one of these in New York? He says, no. Year after year, they approach him. Would you come? No. Finally, he says, yes. It just opened. It's called Graciela. It's an Argentinian steakhouse, but they also have fish and chicken and these empanadas. But here's the concept, which was so cool. It's basically an open grill in the back of the restaurant that everyone can see from their seats. And it's just steak, chicken. It's almost like the ultimate barbecue you could ever imagine. And I will say I had one of the more outstanding steaks of my life at this restaurant, Graciela in New York City. It's getting a little bit of buzz right now. And it's the same guys who brought it over helped with Italy which is obviously everywhere, and then La Industry Pizza, which is a big pizza spot in New York City. So Graciela, if you're in New York and you want to make a reservation somewhere cool and interesting, I literally had to be rolled out of the place. Like, it's not great to talk about how much you eat, but I was just shoving steak in my face and then chicken and then fish. And I was like, I surrender. White flag. It was awesome. Another piece of news, my golf journey, which I think is getting a lot of buzz right now. We're talking a lot of golf. We talked golf with Saleh. We talked golf last week about my 2 gloves. I played in the rain this week. Played in the rain, but I bought 2 rain gloves, and I had the round of my life. I think I'm a 2-glove guy. Mark Grillo, come on back in if we can. Mark Grillo is our wonderful producer, and he's our resident golf expert. Grillo bought the 2 gloves, okay, got them in the pro shop. They were black gloves. It was pouring rain when I played, and I didn't have a single issue losing the club. And I played better in the rain than I would without the rain. Your thoughts on someone who might be better in the conditions, and whether that's in my head or there might be something to that?
No, it's 1,000% in your head, Peter, as much as I love you. But if you're a double glove guy, like we discussed, just go with it, man. In the summertime, next time you play, it's pretty hot and humid here in the Northeast. So I give it a rip, go double glove in good conditions, and then report back to us how we did.
Another thought for you, Grillo. These guys that I played golf with, they go 90 minutes early so that they can hit on the driving range, practice their putts, they chip. I have something called attention deficit disorder. As a spokesperson for adult, non-diagnosed, can't focus on anything and needs to be doing 6 things at once disease, I don't have the patience to sit there 90 minutes before playing. Your thoughts on just going in and just going cold and not spending, I sat there and drank an iced coffee while my friend Tony did like 30 chips, before he got out there. Your thoughts on just disregarding the range completely?
No, I'm with you. I always go cold. I do like to putt a couple. If it's a course I haven't played before, just see how the greens are rolling, how they're playing, how fast they are a little bit. But besides that, I'm with you. Let's get in the car. Let's grip and rip it.
Question: when someone invites you to play, is it rude to say, "I'm good. I don't want to have to hit the range. I'll just sit in the clubhouse and just hang"?
No, I don't think so. Not at all. No, especially if they invited you to play, they you guys are boys and want to hang out. If you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it, man. Get yourself a cup of Joe, maybe a breakfast sandwich.
I love that. Yeah. I love that. Lastly, on the golf journey, you might have seen this story. I wanted Grillo to listen to it also. It comes from, let me get the actual podcast where I first heard it, because everyone bastardized it and took it and had comments. But the first place I heard it was, give me a second here as I look through my text chain, because I sent it to you guys last night as we were doing our pre-prep here. We have a Schrager Hour text chain, which, by the way, is electric. Anyone at home wants to get on it, just let us know. Tweet us. You want to be on the Schrager Hour text chain. The Schrager Hour text chain. This is from Nuclear Golf, and the TikTok is a guy at, let's get this right, at RJ Isn't Funny. Okay, this is at RJ Isn't Funny on TikTok. Take a listen to this story, and then Grillo and I will comment afterwards.
You're about to hear the craziest cheating story in a golf tournament of all time. I was told by some insider sources in the St. Louis area about a true story that just occurred at Winghaven Country Club's Member Championship this past weekend. Strap in, ladies and gentlemen. I'm also going to keep all names anonymous out of respect for the people involved, and I'm going to refer to the person in the story as Golfer. So Golfer is playing at the Member Championship at Winghaven. He's a pretty incredible player. He's a +2 handicap and played some Division I in college. During the tournament, there's a hole-in-one pot. So if you make an ace, you win the pot of money. So Golfer is in the first tee time of the day, and he found this out before the tournament started. He shows up and tells the group before they tee off, hey, I have this important phone call that's going to come in later. More specifically, he said that his grandma is in the hospital with poor health, and he has to take this call when it comes. They're all like, yeah, dude, that's fine, no problem. They start playing and they get to the third hole. At the end of the third hole, Golfer says they just got the call. So he's going to run up to hole 4, hit his tee shot real quick to keep the pace of play going. By the way, hole number 4 is a par 3. And it's probably the most famous hole on the entire course. So the group gets up to 4 tee box. They ask Golfer, hey man, how'd you hit your shot? He said, word for word, I thinned it, but there's a divot on the green. They're all like, okay, cool. They get ready. They go and hit their shots. Lo and behold, they go down to the green. There's golfer's ball in the hole. He just made a hole-in-one. They all get super excited. But there was nobody there in the group to witness him actually hit this shot into the hole because he said he had to take this call. So he ran up and hit his tee shot really quickly. So nobody in the group actually saw him hit this tee shot. A couple of members get a bit skeptical. I mean, there's money on the line. So they go and they tell the superintendent about it. He says, no need to worry. We have cameras right by that hole. And 15 minutes later, here's what happens. They found out that the camera caught him parking his car right by the maintenance shed right next to the green very early before the round started. He then got caught creating a divot on the green and putting his ball in the hole on hole 4. The phone call, none of it was true. He did all of that just to make it seem like he made a hole-in-one on hole 4.
Grillo, bringing you back here. That's a great little clip from RJ Isn't Funny. And if you want to check out the TikTok, he does a visual of it all so you can kind of see in drawings how it's done. Again, not a country club member, brand new to golf. This seems diabolical. And yet getting to know some of the people I golf with, when you talk about their member guests and their members, I mean, it is as intense as it can get. Your reaction to this insane cheating story from a St. Louis country club.
I mean, listen, it was absolutely crazy. I shared this, and a bunch of us shared this with a bunch of guys, that, grew up with, play golf with. I mean, minimum, you got to do some jail time.
Jail?
Yeah, 3 to 4 months, maybe send them to Guantanamo Bay. Like, I don't even know at this point. I just don't look to possess somebody to go with all those theatrics just to win some money and to have a hole-in-one, and then I can't get over it. Like, I can't believe somebody would have that in them to do something like that. It's insane to me.
It starts going to become like a tall tale, and then it gets to like, oh, well, he did this. Apparently he came out. Do you have the quote? He came out. Did you get it or no? Probably not.
So I looked it up. There wasn't so much.
He did apparently, and I don't know where I was looking at. I asked Grillo before the show, like, look if he like spoke publicly. Apparently though, like he came out like hand up and was like, "Yep, I did it. I'm sorry," and is like banned from the club, like the whole thing, like full. But does part of you respect the guile? And part of you respect how crazy this person is that he did this?
Yeah, I mean, that's some top notch. I can't even I don't understand how you wake up. Like, did he plan this for a couple of weeks before the event, or did he wake up and just like, you know what, I'm going to choose violence. I'm just going to try to park my car and try to be like the ultimate shyster. I would love to know the thought process behind it, but he'll never tell us, obviously.
No. So what this led to, though, and it's funny because I'm new to golf and I don't have any stories like this. And again, I don't have like a reference point for, and the 97 member at Winged Foot. Like, I don't have all that. What happens was you send it out, and inevitably on every text chain of all the guys, and I've got like 3 different text chains with friends from college, friends from New York. Someone in the text chain's like, oh, but did you hear about this one? Did you read about this one? There's a Reddit thread on this one. And I can't read all the Reddit threads and follow it all. I just like a TikTok video that explains it. But apparently this is rampant, and they're legendary, that they're like moves. The one that I heard, and it happened out in Long Island, and I'm going to probably botch it. And if my boy Tony is listening, he can correct me on this because he was in the foursome and someone was telling us about this. Apparently, the guy hits it long on a hole-in-one. A par 3, like 170 yards, hits it long, races up there, and without anyone looking, like chipped it back up onto the green. So it was like an inch, or dropped his own ball and then chipped a new ball up. So it was like an inch from the hole. And then by the time all the other guys got there, they're like, oh crap, like you're like 10 inches by. And then he tapped it in for a birdie. But what happened was when he tapped it in for the birdie, the ball was actually sitting in the cup. So he thought he hit it long, but he actually had a hole-in-one. And so when he got to the hole, he was like, where's my ball? He's like, no one will see this. He just chipped a little ball up from the back of the green or wherever it was, like down the hill. But then unknowingly, he actually had a hole-in-one, but because he didn't check the hole, they caught him cheating instead as he did this illegal move where he just threw his ball down. Grillo, your thoughts?
I mean, how do you have a hole in one but not know where the ball went? I mean,
He thought he overhit it.
Yeah, but I mean, dude, take a look. I mean, at least have a little bit of a feel, and then for him to drop it.
Imagine you get the hole in one and you can't even celebrate it because you just cheated and made it so it's a birdie, and so they caught him and he got in trouble also.
That's a sign, Peter, from the heavens that it's time to retire, and that you must have done something really bad in your life too. We had to check into this guy too. He's probably cheated more than this, so I mean, it's insane.
This is a great way that we're adding to the Schrager Hour. I hope you're having fun at home. Football's here. It's great. Big press release went out about Monday Night Football. Our guy, Jason McCourty, is going to be on site. I love that. He's part of the NFL Countdown now. I saw McAfee is going to be added to Monday nights. Like ESPN is blowing out Mondays. And I think I can announce that Good Morning Football is going to be there week 1, as will I. And producers and I are talking. These bridges have not been burned. Everyone's on a good thing. Grillo, we might do a little reunion. I might go on Good Morning Football week 1.
I'd love to hear it, man. Get the old band back together. I'm a huge fan of that show.
Yes, as am I. And it would be, I believe, Manti, Jamie, and then Kyle and I get back in the ring one more time. And we're seeing if we can make it happen. It would be in Kansas City week 1. And I think it would get better ratings than the last episode of MASH.
Yeah, that's aggressive. But I will say this. I do think people will be fired up to see you guys back together. It'd be awesome.
We're all under one tent. Football's here. Guys, thanks for listening to the Schrager Hour. Next week, I'm thinking fantasy. If you have anything else you want to say, put it in the YouTube comments. All our golf questions and conversations, we want to hear about it. If you have a crazy cheating story from a member or member guest or member son, I don't even know what they call them, let us know. And until next week, enjoy the football, folks.